Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So as many of you know, I had my crane stolen out of my utility trailer here. I installed it, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, 9 months ago, somewhere in there, and I used it a ton. It's been really handy and I'm missing it already. So I recently had a company called Rugcel reach out to me and offer me a new crane, and it's here in this box. It was shipped to me, and I'm going to get it opened up and install it in the trailer, check it out, do a little review on it. One of the coolest things about it is that it comes with a electric winch, and I already have a 12-volt battery on this trailer. So all I have to do is just wire it up, and instead of the hand winch that was on my old one, I can use this one that is electrically powered. So they have this really nice, simple, basic little installation instruction guide. Pictures to show you what to do with little explanations. It's not the most complicated thing to set up, but a pretty nice way to show you how to install your new tool. So let's talk about the installation process real quick. You see me here cutting out some of this wire mesh that's underneath the wood of the deck of my trailer. And you probably won't have to do that. It just is going to completely depend on where you mount it. If you mount it in a pickup truck bed, it's going to be a different process. If you mount it on another trailer, it might look different. So that's obviously going to just depend on where you're mounting it, but it is a pretty simple installation process. As long as you have some wrenches, have the ability to get some bolts, a drill with a good sized, half-inch bit or so, then you should be able to install this thing pretty easily. It doesn't take anything special to do, just a few bolts, a few holes drilled, and you can put it together. Of course, depending on what you're going to be mounting it to. Once you finish mounting the base, it's pretty much just plug and play at this point. You'll go ahead and stick the boom up on top of the post and plug in all the pins and the little keeper pins, as well as your little threaded friction stopper there. And then the winch itself is pretty simple to mount. It's like two 12mm bolts. Then you'll just go ahead and pull the brake stop out of your winch and be able to unspool the cable out of the winch toward the end of the boom and remove the little pin at the end of the boom that keeps the wire onto the pulley. Place your wire and then replace the pin and replace the little cotter pin that goes inside of it. Once you're finished with that, you can go ahead and mount your hook onto the end of the wire there and install a snatch block if you'd like to. You will have to do a little bit of wiring here, but it's very simple and basic wiring. They have tabs that label the wires and what they go to and what they're supposed to do. So for me, I had to go ahead and cut off the little connectors that they sent with the wires, or connected to, crimped onto the wires already. And I had to put on a little bit bigger copper connectors because the ones that they sent with it just didn't fit on my particular battery. So of course this is going to look different for whatever your setup is. So you will need a few real basic electrical tools, potentially, maybe not at all. So just be prepared for that and know that maybe you might need to have a couple of new little copper connectors so that they will fit to your battery. It just is really going to depend on what you use, but like I said, I already have this battery on there, and because I have another winch, and so there was no reason to go change batteries or anything like that, so I went ahead and just used what I had and put on some new copper connectors. So I've had my uncle's 6-foot box blade for a little while, and I decided it's probably time to take it back, and this would be the perfect thing to lift up with my newly installed crane, because it is a hefty, I don't know, roughly 650 pounds, and I thought, it'd be a good way to just kind of test it out, test out the winch a little bit, and of course get him his box blade back. His tractor's currently down, so it wasn't a big deal that I was using it for as long as I did. He has nothing to pull with it at the moment. But anyway, once I lifted it up, I realized I needed a little bit more room, and I went ahead and let it back down so that I could lift up the boom a little bit higher so I was able to swing the box blade into the trailer.
Now, I do haul a lot of these implements on the trailer, well, because the crane is so handy to have. You know, my old crane, I moved plenty of implements with them. I could just about drag them up next to the trailer and then, of course, hoist them in if they were too heavy for me to move all on my own. So this is one thing that the crane is huge for me. I'm able to move implements just about by myself across town and things like that. And so these cranes come in really, really big handy. They're a big help for projects like this. So I did make it over to my uncle's house a few days later, and this is more or less the delivery of the box blade, returning it to him. So yeah, I mean, it just was able to lift up the box blade just fine, didn't really stress out the winch too much, and I dropped it off. You know, what would have taken at least like 4 men to lift up and move out by hand, this crane I was able to do by myself and get it all done.
Okay, so let's finish up this initial review on this crane. Basically, I picked up a 650-ish pound box blade around there with it, and it says it'll do a total of 1,300 pounds, as you can see right there. I'm not sure what the limitations are of the winch here, but I think as far as the crane's ability to hold up the weight, the absolute most it'll do is 1,300 pounds. Obviously, I didn't even do about half that. Well, actually, I did just about exactly half that. I'll just say this right out front, I wouldn't feel comfortable putting 1,300 pounds on this, but on any crane in this setup, I'd have a hard time putting 1,000 pounds on it, unless it was in a real small little package that I could easily keep myself away from and not have to get underneath. So one reason why 650 pounds is the most I'm going to do with it, I don't have 1,000 pounds of dead weight easy to pick up. I mean, maybe I could try and pick, you know, the hind end of a vehicle up or a tractor or something. The amount of times I'll need this thing to lift more than that 650 pounds is probably very, very slim over the next who knows how much time. So I'm just not even going to go there. But anyway, let's just talk about this thing from base all the way out to the end and each component and what I think of each of them. So starting here at the base, everything looks pretty good. All the welds to the plate, the mounting plate, all look pretty good. There's nothing I could really criticize there. They all look like good full penetration welds. Moving up the pole here, there's really nothing special till you get here. Now, compared to other inexpensive cranes I've seen, like especially comparing it to the last one I used, this one is really nice in that there's ball bearings in here. The last one I had, there's just a grease zerk at the top. You put some grease in. Sorry, it's actually on the side, but near the top, you put grease in, and it did work okay. There was nothing really wrong with that. But this is much smoother because you got 2 big ball bearings in there. Excuse me, I keep saying ball bearings. They're roller bearings. But really nice feature that they even include that. They popped in real nice and smooth. I had one popped out a little bit. The other one was already set. And then they just have this little knob here for you that you need to tighten down if you don't want your load to be swinging around. So that's just one thing to note. One thing that they could improve on this that's kind of cheap, I think, is this sticker here, because this sticker is already kind of a little bit oversized for it. It's not going to last long, and it's got the chart of what it can hold at the different settings that it has. I'll say that on one hand, I really do like how simple this different height setting is on this thing, but on the other hand, I actually really do miss my old crane, how there was a hydraulic jack, just a little bottle jack that mounted from here to there, and you could lift the boom with so that you could make adjustments while you actually had something in the air. Because with this, if there's any weight on it, you have to put it back down, and then you can pull your pins out and reset it to where you want to go. Where with the other one, if you wanted to move the boom up higher at a steeper angle, you just use the hydraulic jack and lifted it up higher. So it looks like they're using 1/4 inch tube steel here which I think is just fine. It's going to work for you. Some good heavy duty pins that have a galvanized coating on so they won't rust too quick, and they'll be protected from the weather for a little while. Moving up here to the winch, it looks like a pretty nice winch. They use their own brand here. I don't think there's anything wrong with this winch. I think it will serve you well. I don't think there's a whole lot that you could probably do wrong with these 2,500 pound winches. The winch is actually pretty strong, so it did seem like it was definitely putting in some effort to pick up that 650 pound box blade, but I don't think that it was straining it too much by any means. So good little winch on here. It says it's a 2,500 pound winch. Anyway, the cable, standard wire cable. You do have on this winch the ability to pull this out. I don't know how much effort I want to put into it, but you can pull it out, change it. That takes off the brake, and you can just unspool the wire really fast, which is a nice feature. Also, it bolts really simple. If something did happen to this winch, you could easily just buy one of Rugcel's other winches, slap one on, or there's other brands that I have that I compared, and you could easily slap those on as well. So also you just have a pin here in your adjustments for how far you want this boom to go out. And then of course you come up here to your first pulley, and well, technically the only pulley that they send with it. There is something on here that says that they want you to use a double line only, so they want you to run it through like a snatch block like I have here, but they don't send you the snatch block. At least I didn't receive one. So if they're saying that you need to have one to use it this way, to use it properly, they should probably send that, but not a big deal because I already had one. The hook they send, nothing wrong with it. Looks like it'll do the job. And yeah, pretty simple setup. Everything about this crane's pretty simple. I like it. I think it just is a pretty nice little tool that will do the job and get done what you needed to get done without overcomplicating it or anything like that. I think it's a nice little crane. I'm really happy to have it. Absolutely thrilled after having the last one stolen from me. So I appreciate Rugcel for sending it over to me. Yeah, overall guys, I think this is a good crane. It's going to last me a while as long as it doesn't get stolen. I'm actually going to weld the base to my trailer to keep it from getting stolen. At least they'll have to pull out a grinder to remove it instead of just removing some bolts. Anyway, thanks for watching guys. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Go down and click that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. We'll see you in the next video.